We're here today to do a body lift on Saint Vic, also known as Santa Vittoria. This is Parker's Vic, and we've got the suspension lift done. Run some 255 75 17s on it, and we just want a little bit more clearance. Body lift on the Crown Victoria. For a long time, no one offered a body lift for it because why would you? We've been using hockey pucks for years. It is kind of the ghetto way to do things. But that's okay. These are gambler cars and we don't expect much more out of it. However, since then, a company called On Track Offroad, run by Clancy Pogue, he now does offer a body lift kit. His body lift is $275, and he also has optional bumper relocation brackets. If you want to do it the right way, go through them. On Track Offroad, not a sponsor, but very good people. Hockey pucks though, they'll get you by. If you're doing a 2-inch body lift, you need a minimum of 32 hockey pucks, and you could potentially need 34. If you're doing a 3-inch body lift, you need 50 hockey pucks or a minimum of 48. So just buy a 50 pack. I will put some links down in the description for it. They're usually about $60, $60 to $70 for a 50 pack. The other things that you'll need are longer bolts. If you're doing a 2-inch body lift, we do 130 millimeter on the length, and you can see from the original body bolt that it's just roughly 2 inches longer. If you're doing a 3-inch body lift, you'll need 150 mil, but we have gone away from the 3-inch body lifts. They end up causing too many problems. Sometimes less is more. At the firewall, with too much leverage, it'll start to twist right there. And with 2 inches, you can usually get away stretching that bumper cover out and not having any issues. The thread pitch on these is M10 by 1.5. The factory bolts are actually a triangle bolt, so it's a locking bolt. Using standard bolts, we also use Loctite so that they don't come loose. Start by trying to get your front 2 body mounts out of the core support because they are slightly different. Panther has a total of 16 body mounts, and 14 of them look like that on the bottom. You've got this little isolator cup and then your bolt. The front 2, however, have a different style bolt, and this is usually where things go bad. This part goes under the frame, and you've got your frame section right there. This goes just above the frame. These front bolts are threaded on the bottom as well, and they thread into that sleeve. So many times we've had these seize up completely, and we end up having to try to get in there with a grinder or a cutoff wheel to just cut that off right there and take it out. That's why you need your extra 2 mounts, because it'll just go in place of that. Before you start any of this or buy any of your parts though, this is the most important thing to mention. The 2003 to 2011 Crown Vics have this dongle style instead of a telescoping shaft. And there are a lot of people who will put the body lift together and think they're okay because everything bolted up okay and it seems to be working. But it's really, really dangerous. If you do not extend this, you are running a very, very high risk of your steering column pulling itself apart, losing your steering completely. I had heard this warning before. I didn't listen. I said, no, it looks fine. But when this dongle maxes out, there's one spot in the steering where you don't even really feel it in the steering wheel, but every time it hits that, it puts a little bit more pressure, hits. And about 2 weeks after I did a body lift on my cousin's Crown Vic, he lost steering completely because the lower steering column came apart. And I feel really lucky that he didn't crash bad, but he was going around a curve and just went off the road. But if he had gone into traffic, that would have been really, really bad. So please don't mess around with this. Please don't consider it unless you're going to do some type of extension here. Doing a 2-inch body lift, we're not extending this 2 inches. I've done the math. It works out to roughly 50% of whatever the body lift is. So this one, we are doing a 2-inch body lift, so we will extend the steering shaft 1 inch. The best way that we've found to extend it is by using a 1-inch double D hollow tube. This is steering shaft that you can buy. I'll drop a link for it as well. The flies are driving me crazy. The cottonwood's driving me crazy. If we're sniffling all day today, it's because of that. We'll cut a 5-inch section of this. We will split this right here in the middle. And then we're going to weld right here, and then we'll do a little rosette plug weld right here. 8 flies. The orientation is important. If this flips 180 degrees, it'll be a problem. You might be able to get away with drilling through it, bolting it. I probably wouldn't trust that, but it is a non-weld option. And that's how our modified steering shaft looks. These front ones have a 15 mil nut on the top, and then the head on the lower side of the bolt is also a 15. And usually you don't need a wrench on the bottom of this because that threaded sleeve in there is going to hold it, but you want to get the nut off first. We've got the bolt right here, and then we want to try to grab this bushing with some channel locks. Squeeze that the best you can, and you'll want to start with the biggest impact you have to give yourself the best chance. Park, you're probably gonna get a dirt shower.
Thanks.
Oh man, we got so lucky. We can leave this whole stack in place because what we'll do is we'll just end up putting the hockey pucks just above there. Before you do any lifting on the body, make sure you have the steering shaft out. That steering shaft that we already modified was just one that I had on the shelf. You're gonna have a couple of bolts, one right there on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that right there. And then one up here. What we do is we take the seat belt, feed it through the steering wheel, and we click that in place so that it can't make more than its standard rotations. If you go too far, then your cruise control won't work, your controls won't work there. So seat belt the steering wheel, pull out the steering shaft. We're gonna take a break from the sun and prep the hockey pucks. You can drill these. If you are going to drill them, an auger style bit typically works the best because a standard drill bit, after the first 5 that you drill, it gets hot, it gets gummy, they don't want to drill anymore, but the auger bits work really well. We are trying out a new system though, to where we cut down a little piece of stainless sleeve and then we just press it through. It punches the hole out of it, and it also gives some lateral stability to the hockey pucks, which is good.
Like a dart gun.
Ta-da! Oh yeah. Like a glove. Like a glove. The next step is going to be undoing the body mounts on one side of the vehicle. That's a really important part, is because if you take off both sides at the same time, getting them lined back up is a nightmare. Behind the front tires, there are two mounts, one right there, and then one up in there. There's one right about the back of the driver door. I've got one right here by the link box. One up there behind the coil spring. One right here behind the axle. And one right here by the back bumper. Now we'll run down the passenger side and just crack some of these loose. That way it'll allow the body to move a little bit. Just behind the front door, you want to get just past the frame and grab the body. And then from there, go up nice and slow. Sometimes the park brake cable will max out, but we've already cut the cable on this one for other reasons. There it goes. Get your hockey puck stack in there, and then you'll take the lower cup from before, put the new bolt in there, and we need Loctite. And you just go down the line, get all those in. This bolt is a little bit longer. You could take out one of those spacers and one of the 130s would work on that, but I threw a 150 down in there, and it's just long enough that I can get the threads started. The Panther platform, this is not the best place to be doing an explanation. Anyways, when you do a body lift, there are several things that in general across all vehicles you need to watch out for. The fuel tank filler neck is usually one that has an issue. Nice thing about the Panthers is that the fuel tank is actually connected to the body, so it's going to go up with the body. The fuel lines have enough give, the brake lines run along the chassis, and then up at the master cylinder, they will have enough room. So occasionally the evap lines for the emissions stuff, sometimes they're under a little bit of stress. But really, like, everything else has enough give, at least for a 2-inch body lift. Like I said, we've gone away from the 3s because they're just a problem. We're just gonna chop this little bracket. And after we get the body lift done, we'll actually mark across here. Off-roading these things, the trunk is so long, you almost always drag the of these cars. So if you just cut the bumper along the bottom of the line, it keeps from ripping the corners. Most of our Panthers have ripped corners, but it'll help a little bit. Nice. Here's a key difference between the pre-02 and then the 03 and newer. The 03 and newer, the cooling stack is mounted to the chassis, so radiator, condenser, everything else. This is a 98, and on these, the radiator comes up with the body. You can see right here, the gap got bigger over here, but what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna make some spacers and then trim this lower bracket to come up. So we'll bring this radiator up as well. Parker hasn't got enough of a dirt shower today, so I'm going to send him down this side with the impact. 2003 and newer, all of those 7 are going to be a 13 mil, and on the 98 to 02, it's a 15 mil. That means Parker gets to do the dirty work.
Damn it. I just don't want to be in the video.
Yeah. By the way, we hate doing videos. The only reason we're doing this, it's not for views, it's not for anything. I don't make money at it. It's that so many people
don't make money.
So many people ask about how to do this setup, and we genuinely just want other people to know how. But we hate doing videos.
It was just behind the driver's side door. You said a lot of words I don't really understand.
That.
Verbal instructions are not my thing.
That's okay.
Luckily, the chassis is on the ground, so
Yeah.
if it comes down, just keep your hands out of the way.
Just keep your hands away from anything.
Hang on, you got to come back down. We should not be lifting a tire at any point.
Ooh. That's 5. I just pulled out another one. We're only at 7. Including the one up front, we're at 7. That's 5. That's 6.
A little more. Woo!
Oh, it's caught on that arm.
While Parker gets those biscuits in place, we are going to take the radiator mount, see if we can space it out a little. There are 3 13 mils that go down through there, and that's a lot of hot sauce. And we're going to use that as a pedestal spacer underneath that mount right there. I don't know if it'll work. Now that we've got all the body mounts in, all the spacers in, all the bolts started, now we're gonna run through and tighten them all down. You can keep tightening until the hockey pucks split, but we just kind of tighten down until we see the hockey pucks start to bulge a little bit. Yep, go. Good. Beautiful. The radiator pokes through those, and that's the lower isolator bushing. Since we raised the radiator up about 2 inches, we need to take 2 inches out of this and then re-weld it. It supports the radiator hose, so we're just going to clamp that on first. Shimmy over. All right, so now we have an extra 2 inches of clearance right here, which if you don't think an extra 2 inches is a big deal, ask your girlfriend. The last thing that we need to do now is reinstall that steering intermediate shaft, and we're good to go. Oh, I scratched it. I scratched Parker's pink shaft.
Damn it.
All right, it's now 9 o'clock. We started around noon. If you're not filming, this is not a 9-hour project. It's usually about, I don't know, I'd say probably 3 hours. What do you think, Parker? How did it go?
I'm never getting under this car again.
He's gonna get under it in the desert, broken. Because I'm not doing your next fuel pump in the desert.